Well, hi everyone, and welcome back to Polderpark episode 3. Took a while to get this one out. I've been busy with work and I've not really had the time to play the game, or at least not long enough that I felt I had made enough progress to actually show you. But over the past 2 weeks I have made a few, nuggets of progress here and there. Added a few things, made a start with a new area too, actually. So I felt it was time to at least update you a bit and give you a look at what I've been working on and what Polderpark is currently looking like. Now you're joining me in this beautiful Dutch weather. I completely forgot this game had a weather system, so I thought, you know what, let's see how this park looks when it is raining, which, given that it's located in the Netherlands, it's probably going to be doing most of the time. Now there are a few areas that I want to focus on today. I think the first one, logically, as with pretty much all episodes up until now, should be the main street, because there are a few things that have changed over here. Small things are, I added this fake tunnel facade thing as a kind of photo opportunity. Groetjes uit Polderpark, meaning greetings from Polderpark in Dutch. I can imagine if you get here, or maybe if you're leaving, you can see this and you're like, oh, let's take a picture, put it on socials, and it would get the park logo out there. So yeah, add that in there. Other than that, nothing's changed on this side, but this side has. As you can see, I have themed the theater or the cinema now. I was inspired for this building by a Tomb Raider the ride in King's Island, I found out. Because it was this seemingly normal flat ride which was encased and housed in a big show building and kind of shrouded in mystery. Now I wanted to try something similar with this. And my idea is that this facade, this building has been here for way longer than this attraction has. Maybe back in the day it actually used to be a theater here for the park, but nevertheless they ended up changing it. They ended up buying a flat ride, plopping it down in the show building behind here, and theming it to whatever they wanted at that point. So right now it's called Artemis, the Curse of Mission 12. I was thinking what would be the most cliche kind of space name I could think of, and this came up. I'm in this world we're creating here. I'm guessing that Artemis is I know it is. The Artemis is a film that has just come out, The Curse of Mission 12, and the park just got the rights to get an attraction in, but they didn't want to spend all the money on building an entirely new attraction. So what they did is they got this ride, which was probably previously themed to, I don't know, like just classic films or something, stripped away the theming, and then they themed it to Artemis just for the IP and just for the money they were getting for it. Now, as you can see, I added a few other posters as well. This one is kind of a nod to the Main Street itself, Boulevard Buddies, and also this cliche, like old-timey, I guess it's Hollywood film, like classic stuff. And I wanted to add some kind of Planet Coaster character in here, so Björn 2 is also showing. I don't know if this mascot is called Björn. I don't think it has a name in the game, but I googled I googled family-friendly Viking names, and I think this is what was first on the list. So yeah, I added that as well. And then of course the Artemis poster itself. Now heading into the area, let me uncrouch. You can see the forced perspective thing is still going on here. But the second we turn around now, it has this, well, I wouldn't say cliche sci-fi theme, because Update 5 has come out, and yes, the sci-fi theme is back, so I wanted to do something with that. So they just plonked down a few props here, a B7 type, a B7 type engine. I don't know what it is, but it's cool. The engine fueling system thing, it's cool. And then we head to mission control for Artemis 12. Now, again with this, I wanted to keep it kind of cliche sci-fi, so what I've done is just kind of lined the walls with, I think they're called greebles in like prop maker terms, like just random details and stuff to make it look sci-fi. Like these panels across the ceiling and the pipes that are dangling from it. it's just general sci-fi stuff, not really any thought put into it. Mostly just for the promotion of this film. So this would probably be a character from that film, and other than that, this is just general sci-fi stuff. So that if they ever do lose the rights to this film, they can just remove this guy, remove Artemis 12 from there, and they have a generic sci-fi attraction as a kind of backup. Heading into the next area, I think that really does show, because I wanted to try and get this as bland as I could. I didn't decorate the ceiling, didn't decorate most of the walls. I was kind of inspired by, oh, what's it called? Shoot, Euromir at Europa Park, where it's themed to a Russian spacecraft, I think, called Euromir, but most of the ride queue is just blank walls or walls with neon paintings on them. At least the inside queue is. And then you go to a tunnel which is just pitch black with a rocket on top of it. It's very generic sci-fi when you come to think of it, and it's rightfully so because it's an old ride, but I wanted to get that same kind of feeling in here. So yeah, just a few screens with generic bleepity bloopity sci-fi computer stuff on there, just a few logos on there. I'm not really sold on these, but I wanted to try and get some very quote-unquote neon stuff in here with the yellow details, and just a bunch of black lights because fancy science fiction spark stuff. I don't know, it's just the generic kind of sci-fi stuff you see in almost every park. Now, coming to the end of this queue, we come to Artemis 12 itself. I'm trying to do this subtly, but yeah, there's no subtle in here. I themed this to just, again, the most basic sci-fi stuff ever. Smacked some sci-fi pieces on there. And in the end, it does end up looking like a bit of a rocket if you think away the giant swinging arms of death. And other than that, it's just themed to, I guess, Mars or some other planet. The roof and walls are made entirely out of star panel, which I am really sad isn't in the game by itself. I had to use screens for this. Back in Planet Coaster 1 we had star panel pieces, which were these square, black, thin panel pieces with stars on them already. So yeah, I had to use screens for that, but you can see the corners there with the light reflections. But it does give this an idea, or the illusion of being grander than it is, because it's just a show building, of course. But again, I hope you can see how if this park ever were to lose the rights to this IP, or maybe another movie studio would come along and we're like, hey, you want to refresh some attractions with our money? We just got this new adventure Tomb Raider-ish film coming out. Why don't you turn this into a Forbidden Temple? It would be probably 2 months' work to rip everything out, retheme it, and knowing this park, they would probably keep the attraction in operation during the renovations. So yeah, that's the way the theater now looks, or the cinema. I keep calling it a theater. And once the ride is done, you just exit through here. Again, really just a basic bland plaster wall. They didn't do anything with it. And then you come out of this kind of alleyway in between the cinema and the new pizza shop, which I did not build myself. Ooh, spoilers on the left there. This is a design by Plastic Swans, which you can check out using the code on screen now. The one by Plastic Swans is a bit taller, which didn't quite fit in this area, but I just removed one of the floors, took the roof down, and now it fits really well. And as a kind of nod to them, I decided to call it Swans Pizza, because, well, it's amazing. It's an amazing little building. It has a full interior as well, complete with all the details back there. It's genuinely amazing. So if you are looking for a nice pizza shop to add to your park, check it out on the workshop. Because yeah, I felt like this needed some other building, but I couldn't really get to what it was, and this just fit in perfectly. So I thought, why not use it? And I also moved the little, like, is it fire escape? Yeah, I think it is. I moved it to the side, so this would look more like a little, well, show building, or like a little back alley kind of area. The reason I said show building is because back there you can see the green giant show building, which I did paint go away green. Now I have to admit, with this weather, it doesn't really fit in best. You can see the giant green building back there. But when it's sunny, it actually disappears quite well. So even in Planet Coaster, it's good to know that Walt Disney's tricks do still work. other than that, I added this little gazebo pavilion thingy, which, again, like I said last episode, this needed something in the center here. And I think this fits in really well. Now, moving on to the left, you can see that Ampere Alley now has a sign, which the camera does not want to focus on. I wanted to show you something here. Yeah, if you look really careful, I don't think YouTube's compression is going to make this visible, but Ampere Alley is actually derived from Camperley Alley in this world. I imagine that this place was, or is called Camperley Alley, but just a few of the letters had fallen off the signs, and now it's named Ampere Alley. And here a few things have changed. Of course, with the return of the Western theme, or the sci-fi theme, I'm sorry, my beloved cables are back. I don't have to make them from single cylinder pieces anymore. I can just plop these down and they look amazing. And I added some facades to actually attach these cables to. So ignore that yellow brick thing there. This little corner building is just a facade, and most of these are just a facade, because I feel like this area, while probably their most expensive edition, they'd also need to cut corners somewhere. So this is just completely fake. It's housing some kind of staff building or something like that, but it doesn't have any genuine facilities in there. Same for this one. Here you can see it a bit better, I think, the sign where the C, the L and the Y have fallen off, and now it just says Ampere Alley, kind of themed to the rest of the area. Now this little fence, this little area might be my favorite area of the park up until now. This like high voltage sign, I created this for one little detail above the ride sign, and I've abused this throughout this area by now. It's everywhere, and it really does sell the kind of garish industrial vibe really well. But yeah, this little seating corner nook here is probably one of my favorites. It provides a little view over the lake, which you can see I've added a fountain to, and there's a Vekoma boomerang there, which I'll get to in a bit. But yeah, it also helps to not completely close you off from the rest of the park, provide at least a little... Where are you going? Okay. And then here is Jan B. Kilowatts Quality Electric Workshop. I wanted to name at least something off of Jan BK. Also because I've used his coaster in another part of the park, which I'll get to in a bit. But yeah, I really like this building. It's kind of nice to have something contrasting with all the brickwork that's in this area of the park. It's nice to have this corrugated metal, and just by slapping some cables on it, it really does make it look grungy and worn down. So yeah, that's I really like this corner. Now what I don't like is this building. Again, it's also completely unfinished, as you can see. I am just not sold on the shape of this. This is supposed to be the restaurant of this area, like the sit-in restaurant where you can sit dry, have a meal, have some drinks. I'm not hating the interior, but it's just the outside that's not working for me. So I'm probably gonna redo basically everything from this. Maybe even remove it and replace it with facades. I'm not sure, but this is really the big thing from Ampere Alley that I still need to finish, along with that facade over there. Other than that, Ampere Alley is mostly finished. But yeah, I'm not happy with this one. Now what I am happy with is this one, and the rain is making it a bit difficult to see, but it also adds a lot to the atmosphere. So yes, this is the what's it called, SkyFly in real life, like Gerstlauer. I'm not sure, I think it's called SkyFly. The plane thing, as my mom would call it. Like I said previous episode, this is one of my favorite flat rides in real life, just because it's so intense if you get it right. I don't think the guests in game really do it, but if you lock in with the wings, you can just start flipping around and never stop. So yeah, I themed this to an airport because, well, why not? It's kind of obvious when you're dealing with planes. So this is Camperley Air Base, again named after the original name of this street. And the story behind this is that Watson bought this airport, which was abandoned next to his new power plant he also bought, and turned it into a flight trainer. I'm not sure why I didn't think this through more than I needed to, because again, I also didn't think a park would think this through more than it needed to. So yeah, it's the flight trainer. It has a little outside queue, which with this weather is, well, not great. Now, I reused some of my closed signs from the cinema here for the trainee sign-in ticket payout. Kiosks, I imagine this would be the place where recruits would get their money after being forced to sit in that torture machine. And this is something that, I'm not sure all of them do it, but at least the one in Toverland does, where it shows you the results of the most recent riders. And I'm not sure why, but just having this makes people so hyped to get on there. Toverland does it really well, where they have one screen showing this, and both the exit and entrance paths pass by it. So you can, you have this kind of interaction part with people leaving the ride and people getting on the ride, where it's like, oh my gosh, you got like 20 flips, how'd you do it? And then, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try and beat it. And people get a lot more hyped to go on the ride by just doing this. Now, I didn't have a... puberty, finally. Now, I didn't have a place for the queue and the exit path to meet in front of a screen, but I just added it multiple times. So it's here on the outside. Not sure why, but again, it's kind of this... Not a lot of thought behind it. They probably put all their thought in that storyline, and then they went, oh, we need another ride. Let's just... It's an airport, and it's been bought up, and it's training people to fly. That's probably what went through their heads. This needs theming. I completely forgot about this, but this needs theming as well. And then we get to the departure hall, I guess, where there are departure boards showing, of course, the next few flights and their destinations. Points to whoever gets the reference with the cities and the order they are in, and also why Malmö was cancelled. Or Malmö, I'm sorry. And a little, I wanted to create an instruction video, the same I did for Surge Riders, on the center screen here, but I didn't really have the time for it, but I did want something there, so I added in the, well, kind of basic rules for the flight that, or the ride, that whoever gets the most barrel rolls wins, I guess. You'll be judged at least on that. And on this side, it's the same screen again, showing the results of the previous riders. So yeah, other than that, I did theme the ride itself for a bit. I kept it quite simple, just added a brick facade to this, along with some big metal detailing stuff, or like edges and flanges and stuff like that. And again, the power or the high voltage logo with some cables dangling off of it to kind of sell the power vibe. The little air traffic control tower, I'm really pleased with the radar on top of that. It's such an easy, simple piece to have rotating around, but it really does sell the vibe. And other than that, they have a bit of baggage storage here, which there are no real good pieces to put in here, or at least I haven't found them as like backpacks or something like that. And then after you're done, you just exit through here, and you are confronted with the results as well. And I don't know what system in the game is forcing it, but the second people get out of here, they actually genuinely stop here and look at the screen for a while before walking on. So that's a nice little realism touch, I guess. Now, exiting Watson's flight trainer, I added this tunnel to the end of Ampere Alley. It's collapsed, and I know that in real life this would probably be a liability nightmare because people would be crawling in there and stuff like that. But yeah, I needed a way to kind of story-wise seal off the edge of the street because I didn't want to go that direction, but I'd already put the paths there. So yeah, this side of the street is closed, baby, you can't go there. But you can visit Surge Riders from here. Not a lot has changed here. I added more greenery, I added cables coming out of the factory on all sides. That's about it. And I did theme the what I called the wellhouse, this little building before you launch into the tunnel. I did add an interior to that, which I'll show you real quick. So something I also did is that I changed back some of the text on the facades back to English, because I noticed a lot of Dutch parks do have English as their main like written language. Now this is the new wellhouse. I just quickly paused here because it's quite quickly going through here. It's basically, I think someone in the comments said it. It's basically Baron 1898 or 1818. don't know, meets Voltron, and yeah, that's what I was going for. So it's a lot of the brickwork from Baron, along with the like dark teal accents, but just with more power flowing through it. But I couldn't help myself from putting the giant brass gears here, and then leading into this electrified tunnel shooting you into the heavy rain. And I think everyone who's been to a Dutch theme park can assess that this feeling of getting launched into the rain is both amazing and quite, well, not great. So yeah, that's mostly it when it comes to Ampere Alley. So the restaurant's going to change, and that facade still needs putting in, and then it needs like, well, I want to say an entrance gate, but I'm probably not going to give it that, but some sort of entrance, which is also going to be happening here, where you're leaving this area and going into the next one. Now, this area is, well, I wanted to say work in progress, but I haven't done a lot of work here apart from put in this River Rapids ride. I'm thinking of turning this into the Western theme, purely because I think it's one of the themes a budget park like this would have, especially if it's an older area of the park. Basically every park in the Netherlands here has some sort of Western area, or had, because back in the day the obsession with American stuff was really big here. So I guess that Polderpark would have one as well. They bought this Intamin Rapids and just themed it to a Western thing. So there's going to be a few facades here, breaking up this path down next to the lake as well. I put in a tiny eye because I wanted some sort of flat ride, but that's probably going to be leaving. So again, very much work in progress, just a little look at what's to come. But yeah, this will be the next area that we're working on. Other thing I might save it for is the pirate theme we're getting. Because water ride pirates, it kind of goes hand in hand. So I might save it for that, but we'll see. We'll get back to this later. Now, making my way downtown, out of Ampere Alley and back onto the main street, we are also greeted with what is going to become the Boardwalk area. Now, these two here are, well, you guessed it, temporary. They're going to be two facades. One corner, I think restaurant building would be nice here, and then something else. But yeah, other than that, this is going to be the Boardwalk area. Really inspired by all the classic, like, vintage boardwalks, mostly in America. Again, Americana was a really big thing here in the Netherlands back in the day, so I wanted to add some of that here as well. Added this little facade here in the back, RT & Sons Packing Company. It's kind of a nod to what it's actually hiding, which is Artemis. That green show building you just saw is this on the other side. There you go. So I wanted to at least hide a little bit of this in plain sight, also because this was really close to the path and I couldn't really hide it here with just a bunch of trees. So if you can't hide it, make it stand out, and I did that with this well, packing company facade. Next to which is the first flat ride of Boardwalk, which is going to be the Monsoon Chute. I don't know why, but this thing just screamed vintage Boardwalk attraction to me. It's just so, well, good, weird that I wanted to add it, and it has the splash element as well, because this is all like themed to, or this is probably going to be themed to like water and surfing and stuff like that, kind of the kitsch Boardwalk theme. So I might add like a splash zone in front of here and then make it kind of stand out. And it's also the reason I kept these colors, which they might have repainted it once in a while, but these are the same colors that it came in 20, 30 years ago, probably. Next to that, I have, or across from that, I should say, I have what might be my favorite addition to the park up until now. And it's not even mine, sadly. It's Jan BK's Creepy Crawler, which is this little old Pinfari layout that he created. And I know this is not the most glamorous coaster, but I feel like every park, even if it's just for realism's sake in Planet Coaster 2, should have this old rickety ride they bought ages ago, and that's been standing there for years. I currently call it the Rocket, because it would probably have like an old kind of cliche name or something like Tornado or something like that. It's probably been rethemed 20 times over the years, and it's still standing, and just because they couldn't get someone who could scrap it for free, it's still there. And if there's one area that this belongs in, it's the Boardwalk area, this old Pinfari thing. So yeah, I added that here. I took Jan BK's Creepy Crawler, which is really cool. It has these bug-inspired cards that he made. But since this is the Boardwalk, it didn't really fit, so I took the theming off of those. But now the cars do look a bit too modern, so I'm probably going to theme them. It's weird. I'm going to theme them to make them look less themed. That's not how that would work usually. But to make them look a little more rickety and old and just not as aerodynamic as they are now. So yeah, it's this old classic coaster that I really needed to add in there. And across from that, I added these. They are by, I had it written down somewhere, Kinetic on the workshop. Kinetic, I hope I'm saying that right. They are amazing Midway games, and I just could not have made these any better. So I didn't even try, I just added these. And yeah, again, they fit in really well with the Boardwalk vibe I was going for here. Now next to that is something of my own creation. I was looking at Boardwalk images, and most of them have the old-timey wooden coasters with white supports and blue details going along the pier, and they are amazing. However, since this is, well, I wanted to try something different because I am apparently not really good at building old-style coasters. I tried building like a one, is it Gravity Group? Are those like the long trains that it just... This basic old wooden boardwalk coaster, white supports, not that steep of a drop, that kind of stuff. I tried and I failed to build that, but I did want that kind of feeling here. So what I did is I imagined that at some point that coaster might have been here, that old-timey coaster. And as with most wooden coasters nowadays, RMC got a call and were like, yeah, we can do something with that. And they did, and they turned it into this. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's, I'm thinking of adding the tornado kind of label to this as well, to have it more of a cliche old name. Now this is an RMC iBox track, which I'm not sure if that's like how that would work in real life. I'm not an expert, but I did want to try and add some unique elements like outward bank turns, which I'm a real fan of. You can see well, I have an ultra wide, so I can see 3, but you can see 2 of them already in the same shot right now. The like steeper lift hill or steeper drop, 0G stall, and just a bunch of stuff like that. Also because it's probably going to be one of the few genuine thrill rides this park is going to have. I think I already established it a bit, but most of this park is family oriented, or mostly family oriented. But families also include teenagers and adults, and they want something to do as well. So this is probably the ride for them. I'm just going to quickly skip the lift hill because that's the most boring part of a ride, at least when you're watching on video. And hands up, here we go. It has this vertical almost lift hill or drop, and then straight into an outward bank turn, which I felt could be faster, but I didn't really get the pacing right. Into this 0G stall, which is amazing, and then it just dumps into a bunch of steep curves, into a double up, which might be one of my favorite elements on any roller coaster. A real quick whoop, a kind of whippy turn, another one, another outward bank turn, and then straight into a hardline roll, which then next to the packing plant turns around and it hits the brake runs. Now I have to admit, I'm not 100% sold on this layout, but I think it does kind of fit this park, where it's not too, like, extravagant, is that how you say it? But it does provide a good thrill for those in the family that are also joining, that want to have that good thrill. And most importantly, it also provides this kind of, I hope you get what I mean when I say it kind of completes the boardwalk vibe, having this giant white wooden structure looming over you. Ideally, I would have had it run more along this area, but it's really just too small. And I also wanted to get something along the parking lot, which I can show you real quick. I haven't done anything with. The parking lot is still very much the same bland asphalt plate it used to be. But now at least it has this, in my opinion, beautiful little skyline of a coaster running next to it. It really provides that classical view of coming onto the parking lot and seeing the coaster looming over you, knowing, yeah, we're here. It really provides a nice view and a kind of nice welcome view. So yeah, I guess that's about it for today. The last thing I want to quickly touch on is this Vekoma Boomerang, which is currently unsupported in most parts. Again, seeing as this is probably a bit of a budget park, and as it's a Dutch park, it's pretty much mandatory they have this boomerang sitting somewhere in the park. I wanted to recreate the support structure. I did it already last episode, but I forgot to actually put it in the episode. Well, it wasn't interesting enough to put in the episode. But I redid the support structure from the default in-game ones. Now, the place it's in right now is very much not final, but it does provide a nice little kind of focus point across from the lake to have something to look at when it comes to the thumbnails and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm guessing that's about it for today. Again, I'm sorry for it being a bit of a more chaotic update. I'm not the type to finish one area and then move on to the next, but at least Ampere Alley is almost finished now. Next episode, I hope to have completely finished Ampere Alley and not to have to return there to show you again. And maybe I've made quite the start on the Boardwalk area. Now, as for you guys, if you have any feedback, comments, thoughts, or if you want to share your creations that are on the workshop, because people have already been doing that as well, please leave your feedback in the comments below, or leave your sharing codes in the comments below. And if you want to contribute to the park that way, I'd really appreciate it, and I'd gladly have you in here. So again, thank you for watching. I hope to see you next week again, or at least next time when we're back here at Polderpark. Bye bye.